Hi, everyone. Welcome to our One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. This week's portion is Vayigash in our edition of the Zohar. It's volume 6, and it's the end of volume 6 is Vayigash, and we're at verse 10. Let's begin by inviting in the Kabbalistic lineage of the Rav and Karen, and Michael, Rav Shlag, Rav Brandwein, the Ariya Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tarfon, Rav Mezulai, Rav Menachem Mendel Lovatepsk, Rav Kolonish Pir Piasetson of Baal Shem Tov, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and all the students, Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl, one soul with Yosef at Tzadik in Shechem. Also today we have the assistance of Rav Avraham of Stretton. It is the third day of Tevet of Capricorn. So it's like we just have been through the new moon, but the month is just like taken off. So we're still at some level, really the seed level, not the same seed level as the new moon, but we're still in the beginning. So we want to definitely raise our awareness of what Capricorn is all about, especially coming off the heels of the week of miracles of Hanukkah. So as we connect to these verses, let's raise our consciousness to an awareness that we are connecting with the upper realm, the flawless universe, and channeling into our world the energy of healing. And so anyone we know who needs healing, let's just think about them. If you know their name, even better. Mindel bat Chaya, Levi ben Bluma, Sar bat Yudit, Sar bat Malka, Yitzchak ben Rivka, Melissa bat Margie, Talia Sheva bat Chana, Chan bat Rivka, Yudit Masanavam bat Aviva, Ganessa bat Rachel Dina, Sur Perel bat Yita Reza. It's also some energy of assistance to those souls that we know are transitioning in the first 12 months of their transitioning. Also, let's connect to the energy of Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love, treating everyone in the world with human decency, ending the wars in our world between Russia and Ukraine, between Israel and its neighbors. Let's also have in mind energy for the safe return of all the hostages being held by Hamas, and protection for all innocents that are in harm's way anywhere in the world, and protection from evil eye and evil speech, and removing chaos and negativity from our world. Okay.
Hey, David, Monday is the end of the 11th month for my father-in-law.
Oh, okay, really? And what was his name again?
Melech David ben Avraham.
Okay, Melech David ben Avraham. So we want to send him,
thank you,
specifically energy of comfort and assistance on his elevation, his soul's elevation. Okay, verse 10. The name of this article is Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. And let's begin. Rabbi Yitzchak Rabbi Yehuda, Havo Yadvei Le'Liyah, Chad V'La'an B'Oraita. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Rabbi Yehuda, Hai Taninan, Dechad Bara Kutsha Brichu Alma, Abad Alma Tata'a, Kagavna de Alma Ila'a, V'Cholada L'Kabelda, V'iyu Yikare Le'Ela V'Tata. So I just want to say, before we read the English, that earlier in my life, even though I was already like connecting to the Torah, I mean, I'm talking about grammar school, even though I was already connecting to the teachings at a very rudimentary level, part of what I was taught was, I know this is going to come as a shock, was there's just the physical world. And after you die, there's nothing. Like I now in retrospect find that hard to believe that in any religious setting that's like the understanding, let alone a religious setting which is based on the Torah and all the teachings that come from the Torah, which include the Zohar. Like it's so difficult for me to actually imagine that was like the concept that some people have, but rest assured people still have that. But one of the most basic of mind expanding understandings that I've come to later in life is that no, there's a physical world, and then there's the metaphysical realm. There's the upper realm and the lower realm. And I share that with you because, like, at whatever times we're all going to experience doubt, that's like a fundamental understanding that there's an upper world and a lower world. But beyond that, because you can look at that and say, well, the upper world is up there somewhere. It's like up there. It's not really attainable. It's up there. And that's also a misrepresentation. It's not up there. We refer to it as upper realm and lower realm. It's actually here. We don't perceive it because we're trying to perceive it with our five senses, like we try to perceive everything else in this world. And our five senses are limited in our perceptual abilities. Like part of what we're doing is digging deeper to perceive a greater reality and using consciousness beyond what our senses allow us to see. And so that takes us into the realm of the metaphysical and takes us into the realm of soul. It's especially important in a month like Capricorn, Tevet, which is a very challenging month. And so the Zohar that we're connecting with today, like the Zohar we connect with on any day, we want to wake ourselves up to this isn't just a study to like learn interesting things. It's about connecting more deeply to our soul, which we want to try and do every day. But the additional piece, which came to me last night, I was listening to David Gam's podcast, number 21, I think it was 21, was this idea that everything, it's not only about trying to connect to the upper realm, not about the ability to connect with our soul, but it's about the relationship we have with the Creator. And the words relationship with Creator, like, don't do it justice. You can't really explain, what does it mean to have a relationship with the Creator? Well, let me think about the relationship I have with other people in my life. That's not the same thing. So it's like we have to discover what relationship with the Creator is all about. And the point that David Guion was making last night when I listened was that to the degree that we rely on any gift that we have as giving us purpose in life, like could you be your business, could be your relationship, could be your appearance, to the degree we're relying on that to create meaningfulness, that will have to be taken away at some point in some measure. Not completely, but in some measure. Because the Creator needs to remind us that the primary relationship is not to that external, but to the Creator. So when we have challenges in our life, it's for the sole purpose of helping us go deeper with the relationship we have with the Creator. Well, where's the access point to that? Well, the access point to that is understanding that you have the Creator within you. That's your soul. And that should be enough. But it takes a lot of work to get there because we're so wrapped up in physicality that we overlook that. And that's a big part of where we need to grow spiritually. It's not becoming more spiritual. It's developing a deeper relationship with and more awareness of our relationship with the Creator, which is everything. And I don't mean it's everything like, oh, it's everything to have that. No, I mean everything you're interacting with is your interrelationship with the Creator. Anyhow, let's continue. Maria, with the English, verse 10.
Okay. Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Yehuda were studying the Torah one night. Rabbi Yitzchak said, "We have learned that when the Holy One, blessed be He, created the universe, He made the lower world after the pattern of the supernal world, and made the one correspond to the other.
Okay, so we have Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Yehuda, two students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. They're studying Torah one night. It's such a nice, like once upon a time, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak got together at night to study Torah. We need that? We don't need that. That's not, it could just say we have learned. Why is it starting with that? Because this is about the unity and unconditional love that two students of Rabbi Shimon had. That's why that's there. And so for us, it's about unity. It's about achdus. It's about creating unity in the world. It's about seeing the world as one unified whole, not the fragmented world that we perceive with our senses. So the first takeaway for us is we want to be able to connect in unity despite our apparent disunity. That's an illusion. I mean, it feels real. I mean, it is real at some level, but that's not what's happening at a deeper level. Yes, Ron. Your hand's up. Now it's down.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Going back to what you just, like what you previously said, what do you mean by, I didn't hear David Guillaume's latest podcast yet. So maybe he explained it there, but what do you mean by it's not about becoming more spiritual? Can you unpack that? Like what does that mean, and like what does that look like?
Well, when he said it, I was like, wow. Like, I think I'm having the same reaction. I had the same reaction that you're having to me saying it.
Hmm.
What does it look like? Well, I think it looks different for everybody. It's like, what is your relationship with the world around you? Because the world around you is how you're interacting with the Creator. Like, he gave examples of the not so great things that we all experience in our life. Like, that is happening for a reason. We may never merit to understand what that reason is, but we have to understand that it's coming from the Creator. So, like, do I want my trauma to define who I am? Clearly not. I don't want to be defined by the traumas I've experienced. I'm having a hard enough time navigating, getting triggered over those traumas, but like, you know, I don't want to say like, I regret that incident that caused that trauma. I do, but I don't want to be, I don't want that to define me. I want me to be defined my resiliency in overcoming with that trauma. And he's like, and you're going to give examples of like really terrible things that happen. And I'm still going to say, as difficult as that, like, you don't want to be looking at that and regret that it happened, because it did happen. And the regret, you're carrying around that burden. So, you know, you want to be able to see that as at some level that happened for a reason, even though I don't know what that reason is. But in some way, it's serving me because it came from the Creator. So it's about why, you know, it's about, ultimately at some level, it's about why that came from the Creator. But at a much greater level, at least initially, it's like, I don't want to live with regrets. The things that happened to me have happened for a reason, even though I don't know what the reasons are. And I may never. It's like some incredibly elevated perspective that I can't wrap my head around. But it did come from the Creator. And the most important relationship I have is with the Creator. So I'm going to have to find some way to accept and move on. That's not really about being spiritual. I mean, at some level it is. Really, it's about how I'm navigating my life, AKA my relationship with the Creator.
Yeah, because you said it's not about being more spiritual. It's about, I think what you said was like, it's about your relationship with the Creator. Is that what you said?
Exactly. That's what
Okay.
I'm repeating what he said. And maybe he did say it better, but I think that I'm bringing it up because it feels really important. In terms of how we gain perspective on what we're going through in life. Maria, did you want to say something?
Yeah, and I just want to add that to Ron, and let's just keep in mind, like in this topic, that when we are in that moment, we think, because we practice this every day, but we always going to be challenged, right? So when we are in that moment, it's when we really have to step back and just think about your connection with your creator. And I think that was the message.
Yeah.
I think I heard that from Dave Gee on that message. So
Yeah, because like you could look at it and just get totally distracted by that whole thing.
yeah,
It's understandable. Of course, you would be distracted by whatever challenge you've had in your life. But we're always wanting to look at life and move forward and progress and go next level and elevate our consciousness. And so that requires navigating challenging events, challenging times, challenging situations, challenging life experiences.
Mhm.
I hope that helped. I hope that's helpful. Let's continue.
Every detail in the lower world has a counterpart in the upper world, and he is its glory both above and below.
So the Zohar is describing it as lower world, the world we're in, and upper world, the world that's beyond our perception. And we use the terms upper and lower to describe them. The Zohar does. Why? Because it's easy for our limited minds to wrap our heads around lower and higher and upper. Is it really upper physically? No.
No.
No. It's not. And our teachers and others, remind us that when we see physical references like a line or a circle, they're just there to help us wrap our heads around difficult concepts. And so in this context, upper and lower are there to help us wrap our minds around the concept of the physical world and the metaphysical world. The world that we encounter and label as a physical, and the world that is beyond physicality. It's upper to the degree that your consciousness is high or low. But even consciousness isn't high or low. Consciousness is soul centered and body centered. It's all about the physical versus the supernal. So another major takeaway for us is this opportunity to deepen our understanding of our life's experience. And ultimately, as the Zohar says, and he is its glory both above and below. The word that gets translated as glory here is yikareh. And we don't have any Hebrew language experts here with us right now, so unless Stacy wants to pipe in. Maria?
No.
Yes. Okay, so all right. So we're talking here, right? And we're reading here. And he, it's his glory. We're talking about the upper world and the lower world. And then
he is the glory in the upper and lower world, yes.
Right. But then I'm gonna flip the page and then my eyes just went into the title. Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, right?
Yes.
The three level of soul.
Yes.
So as we've been talking here and in this physicality where we at, right?
Yes.
And back to Ron, sorry. And where we've been talking here. So I know on the Nefesh level, it's our level, the lowest level of our spiritual state where we at, right? And when we get into that, even though if we're into these studies every day and we are in this connection and this growth spiritually and having this enhancement and this strong connection with the creator, right? Because for our own self and growth spiritually, we on a daily basis, and we are in that clear path, are we then reaching that ruach level? Is that the level that we've been on every day? Is that in that, like, wouldn't that be like Zerampin level?
It would be like that. It's definitely an enhanced soul connection. Like each level, like it's where we're trying to get to, is those next level. By the way, in the introduction to every volume, but I see it here on page 9, it's Roman numeral 1x, you see the 5 levels of soul. Nefesh, first, lowest level of soul. Ruach, second level. Neshama, third level. Chaya, fourth level. And Yechida, highest, fifth level of soul. And our teachers teach a lot about, and to talk about like what the features are of those differences. We're not going to get into that now because I really don't feel qualified to speak about those, other than to say that, listen, when you're on this path, you're already ascending in your soul connection. Because to see the significance of what we're talking about, you are at a higher level of soul. Some people, like, again, it's like, there's just the physical world. There's nothing beyond that. That's where they're at. That's an expression of where they're at soul-wise. They just perceive physicality, and they don't accept the idea that there's anything beyond physicality. I don't know if that's helpful, but we're going to get to that. I think I'm going to have you read the relevance in 1 second. Ron?
Yeah, just real quick. What was the word that you said, the Hebrew word that, because Yair's not available right now, but maybe
It's Yikareh.
Yikare. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Which,
Third to last word on the last line.
yeah, and I'm not 100% sure that actually,
You, David, while
yeah,
you're
it is. Yikareh is the word that's getting translated as glory, and Yikar means closeness in everyday Hebrew. So, I think though what the Zohar is saying here, based on the English translation, because what is glory? What does that mean? What is glory? It's a nice, pretty word. Like, what does that mean? It's like the essence. The creator is the essence of both of those worlds. Peter, you're saying something?
Yeah, just saying it slightly differently for everybody. I think that the difficulty we have and the difficulty in the words that trying to help us gain insight is that they use these limiting words that define stuff so we can get, so when we say upper and lower world, a better way to try to understand is the world that we're in. When we see it, and you said it, right? When we see this world, we're almost always looking through our 5 senses. And as long as we're looking through our 5 senses, we see that fragmented world. If we could see and just open up our eyes and be looking from our soul, you would see the reality would be different. So, they talk about heaven is here on earth. You were saying it's all the same continuum. It's not up or down. And I think the problem we have is that we can't see beyond the physical world to enable us to open up to the fact that heaven is here on earth at all times.
Right. We can't see it, but we want to strive to perceive it. But not using our 5 senses. Like, it's like whatever you're feeling right now, can't really say that's your 5 senses. It's not something you're tasting, touching, seeing. Like, what is it that you're feeling? Your somatic response. I mean, it's like there's something going on. Like, I am perceiving
in my contacts, but
So you
yeah.
can even take this to
I'm
him and just be
perceiving
frank.
something deeper. Like, that's where I want to be. Like, when I stop and I think, yeah, all of existence is infused with the light of the creator, that's not based on my 5 senses.
David?
Yes.
I think like we have our 5 senses, which is how we receive information from the outer world. But then we have our interoception, which is like our gut response, or like when we're anxious, if our heart, like we have all of this interoception, which is how we're responding. So it's still part of our sensation. We have proprioception, which is how we sit or our posture, or how we physically react. Like if someone's threatening you, you're gonna shift how your body is. So I think it's like it's limiting for us to just think of it as senses, because we have these other like response modes. And then we always have the narrative, like what's the movie that we're playing inside of our brain that contributes to our proprioception or interoception and how we actually are perceiving the senses, right? Like, so it's, I think there's so much more to it.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, 100%, but wait, those are still physically in the human DNA. And we're talking about that piece that we can't quantify, can't get our right language around. So one of the things that comes up for me is that, so I've been meditating on one of the 72 names, and I meditate before I go to bed so that I can get the teachers and the sages will teach me through my dreams. And what is interesting is I'm having more dreams now, and I'm generally remembering more, and I'm remembering more of the dreams. But my point isn't that I'm having that. You're asking for something that is beyond the physical, right? That is the closest we are connected, because the soul has left the body and is closer to the upper world, right? So there are things that we can do that get us more in touch or get us outside of the physical that we can access that might open us up more.
Right. And there's also this idea that our intuitive sense, which is really in part what we're talking about, like our intuitive sense, I mean, can manifest in multiple ways also. Like some people's intuition comes up in things that they see or they hear or they feel, like, or just drop into their head. Like there are different ways that intuition presents itself. So even like through the senses, there are these extra sensory experiences or information that we get. So we really want to be open to that and also deepen our awareness when that's happening, of when that is happening, so that we can strengthen our intuitive abilities and our abilities to get and hear the messages that our guides are trying to send us. Maria, will you read the relevance of this section? Let's see if we get some additional guidance from there.
Every action in this physical dimension has a corresponding influence in the upper worlds. In truth, both worlds are actually one reality. They are like reflections in a mirror.
So what we're being told is that it is one reality. It's just we don't perceive. It's more of a challenge to perceive that deeper reality. Which one is the reflection? When we're reading, they are like reflections in a mirror. Is one a mirror? I mean, to a certain degree, the physical realm is the reflection. It's not real. I mean, it's our reality. But it's the reflection of the upper realm. Just like the moon looks like it lights up the night sky. But the moon does not light up the night sky. The sun is lighting up the night sky as the light reflects off the moon. But for us, the moon is the reality of the light, but the moon doesn't have any light of its own. That's the understanding. That's the helpful metaphor. It's not even a metaphor. It's literally what's going on. But it's an analogy to this level of reality that we perceive and the deeper reality that we are working to perceive. One of the things that Michael Berg shared on the 8th night of candlelighting was when you look at the candles, there's many benefits. I mean, you're literally being showered by the light, which is the light of miracles. But the other thing is that you can ask, now again, it's after Hanukkah, so like, think about this. You can ask for that light to help you see the deeper reality, and that's what we're talking about, because I see this world is referred to as the world of lies. It's like the moon's telling you, no, this is my light. And this world, we see things, and it's like, well, is that bad? Is that good? You see things that happen as bad. It's like, is it though? I don't see the deeper reality. So what the candlelight of Hanukkah does, you can ask for assistance in deepening your perception, in opening your eyes to see that deeper reality, to see beyond the world of lies into the Olam Ha'emet, the world of truth. That's what that upper realm is. That's the source of the light. Okay, let's continue.
In the mirror. This passage simulates the high spiritual realms in which the light is aroused and then reflected back to us in the physical world to refine and perfect our souls.
So there it is. That's the light that we want to refine and perfect our souls. That light that we want to have open eyes to see that light, see where it's coming from, to see where's it coming from. It's coming from the Creator. That's my relationship with the Creator. When I perceive a deeper reality, that's something that the Creator has done. I haven't perceived it. The Creator's made it available to me. Again, that's my relationship with the Creator. Help me to see the reality of this situation. Help me to open my eyes to see the truth. And that truth is happening at two levels. I'm seeing it, but on a deeper level, I'm connecting to my soul. So what David Guillaume was saying was that this is how we perfect our souls by, we want to connect to the Creator. Creator raised inside us. That's where the connection is taking place. The Creator's within us. So all the things that we're perceiving that Creator's light within us. We see it as exterior, but it's not. It's here. Go ahead.
Perfection refers to the subjugation of the ego and the transformation of this selfish desire to receive into a desire to receive for the sake of sharing.
Again, we're wired with this ego. We're trying to see beyond ego. We're trying to see beyond body consciousness where our concerns are just about ourselves. We're trying to turn our vessel into a vessel that receives for the sake of sharing. And so as we've discussed before, all the life challenges that we experience are there to assist us in growing our vessel so that we can accommodate the blessings that are coming our way. That's why the Creator has visited these challenges on us. That's, in one simple way, why they're helping us to grow, how they're helping us to grow, and why they're showing up. Because I need a bigger vessel for the blessings that I am desirous of.
So David, how do we think about it, and how do we say, right? There's that dichotomy. We want to receive for the sake of sharing. So I want to increase my vessel so I can bring more light into this world. So are we asking, I want to bring more light into this world to help others? Or am I asking, I want to bring more light in the world that benefits me and others? How are we really saying it? Or how should we be thinking about it?
Yeah, so I think our teachers have talked about this. It's not a desire to receive so then I can share. It's a desire to receive for the sake of sharing. So I want that desire, like as part of that desire, the idea that I want to share. So I need this job so that I can share with the world. Yes, I'm going to benefit from it too, but it's about me sharing more with the world. It's not a two-step, it's a one-step. That's the goal. Because we have the desire. That's who we are. We are beings of desire. So I'm transforming the desire at the seed level to transform the desire so that at the get-go, it's like I'm receiving for the sake of sharing. It's a great question.
I just want to say, like, you should include yourself in that equation.
Yeah, well, because I am the being of desire.
Yeah.
So the context of that desire, I'm benefiting from it, but I'm still receiving it and benefiting from it for the sake of sharing. Okay, let's continue with that, Marie.
Because sharing is the nature of the light. When we share, we take on the nature of the Creator.
Because that's my relationship with the Creator. You want to have Yeah, listen, you have a friend who's a Bears fan and you're not, but you want to create a strong relationship, so you're paying more attention to what happens to the Bears week in and week out. You're becoming closer. I mean, being a Bears fan is not easy. If I want to be closer, if I want to further develop my relationship with the Creator, I need to take on the attributes of the Creator, the primary attribute of which is sharing. So the more I share, the more like the Creator I am, the closer I am to the Creator, the deeper my relationship is with the Creator. Go ahead.
So I'm curious to that.
Yes.
Just, I mean, it's a space in life right now for me. If your intention is to, you have a desire. I mean, we all have an inherent desire. That desire is placed there for a very specific reason. But if you identify that desire and you can anchor that desire into the space of wanting to share, that's where the blessings come from. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's
Right.
correct.
And it's that, so the other side of that, from my understanding, is also figuring out how do you bring more of the godliness into your life day in, day out.
Right. And by godliness, we mean sharing. It's not our nature to share. It's the Creator's nature. When we take on the desire to receive for the sake of sharing, we're taking on the attributes of the Creator and thereby energetically becoming more like the Creator, becoming like God. We're more aligned with the Creator.
Mhm.
And we have to understand that that's becoming closer to the Creator. So my goal is to become closer to the Creator. Well, how do I do that? Do I need to move to Jerusalem? I mean, I'm not sure that's the answer. Do I need to move from the first floor of my building to the 10th floor? I don't think that's the answer either. It's not about physicality. It's about observing the attributes of the Creator, being of sharing, and becoming more like that. And the more I'm like the Creator, the less the Creator needs to do to wake me up to that relationship. Meaning visiting challenges upon me. That's the only reason why the challenges show up. So I understand the importance of it's my relationship with the Creator that matters. Let's continue.
In effect, we become God. When a stone is returned to the mountain from which it has hewn, oneness is again achieved between the part and the whole.
Okay, so I'm holding a rock in my hand. It came from that mountain over yonder. I take that rock and I return it to that mountain. Is it still a rock? No, it's part of the mountain. So the metaphor is like you have a spark of the Creator within you. When you wake up to that spark of the Creator within you, when you start reflecting the light of that spark within you, you return to the mountain. You draw a closer relationship with the Creator. You're the rock that's now part of the mountain. Go ahead.
There is no distinguishing feature separating them any longer. This godlike nature is awakened within us as we connect to this passage.
Okay, so that's the whole purpose of this portion. That's the awareness that we want to have going into in this month, in this week, as Shabbat, the energy of Shabbat starts to infuse our world. It's like I want to feel that energy of Shabbat because it's coming from the Creator. Literally, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, Shabbat is a gift from the Creator. Okay, it's easy. But like, am I feeling that energy of Shabbat? Because if I'm feeling energy of Shabbat, I am feeling the Creator's presence, because that's where it's coming from. Well, what about what I don't feel? I feel kind of lousy tonight on Shabbat. Well, that's also coming from the Creator. But the Creator's making you feel lousy because the Creator wants to wake you up to growing past that, feeling what you're feeling, understanding why you're feeling it, understanding is coming from the Creator, and moving past that, like being with that and moving past that. If I'm feeling alone, am I though? Well, I mean, in the room by myself, so yeah. No, you're not alone. You're never alone. You are surrounded by the light of the Creator, and the sooner we internalize the idea that we're surrounded by the light of the Creator, we no longer feel that aloneness, because we know we're not alone. And then we don't have to experience aloneness. It's the same thing with everything else in our life that we're experiencing. The moment we realize that this is about me acknowledging that it's coming from the Creator to wake me up to my awareness of the Creator, whatever that negative thing is that I'm experiencing, whatever that lack is that I'm experiencing, doesn't need to be there. So the soulmate can show up. I don't need the soulmate to feel complete. I'm already complete. I'm already at one with the Creator. Okay. We're out of time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom. Love you all.
Shabbat shalom. Thank
Shabbat
you.
shalom.
Take care. Bye-bye.